Hi everybody, it's Mari-Liis here. So today's episode is with Julie Williams, who is a voiceover expert. So if you want to learn more about how to use voiceover in your marketing, and if you want to understand the pros and cons when using an AI when it comes to voiceovers, then make sure to watch this episode. Thank you.
Hi everybody, it's Mari-Liis
and Laura,
and we are from Powerful Marketers. If you are a business owner or a marketer with a product or service you believe in, this is the right place for you.
Because when it comes to business success, we believe that no one wins alone.
We all need to be connected, inspired and supported to grow. Thanks for being here today, and let's get started.
Hello, hi Julie, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank
I always
you.
love when we get to meet together, Mari-Liis, because you've done so much for me and for my business. It's just such a privilege to work with you in this manner, as well as you coaching me.
Well, thank you, Julie. Great to have you here with us. So, hi, listeners. Today we have a guest on the show, and we are talking about different ways you can use audio in your marketing, and we will talk about how to use voiceovers. So, I am very excited to introduce you to Julie Williams, who has been a voice on our podcast. She used to do our intros and outros before we now started doing them ourselves, just recently. But Julie is a voiceover expert with tons of experience in the field. She has been heard on everything from Pampers commercials, Google eLearning, Orbits.com, and award-winning infomercials and audiobooks. And she also is an acclaimed voiceover coach and conference speaker teaching voiceover performance and marketing. So I'm so happy to have her here today talking about voiceover. So welcome again, once again. What have you prepared for us today?
Well, in the in the interest of brevity, there are lots of uses for voiceovers, and many people that own businesses like to voice their own stuff because maybe they have a good voice, so they think they can just do as well as a professional. But that's really not necessary, because you can do a better job by hiring somebody who can connect with your audience better, and it really doesn't cost as much as you might think. So what I did, we're going to talk about today the uses for voiceover. I'll list a bunch, and then we'll talk a little bit about AI, because a lot of people are going to AI for a voice. And so we're going to talk about how AI isn't quite there yet when it comes to voiceover. I guess that'd be kind of like having AI write an article and you don't proofread it before you put it up. I mean, they're just not quite there. And so I'll show you some examples of how they're there and how they're not quite there. But I jotted down a handful of ways that your business may be able to use a professional voiceover talent. Commercials, whether they be commercials on YouTube or on broadcast media, or even something that's on your website. Also, orientations. If you have a staff and you want to do training and orientations about perhaps some HR stuff for your insurance program, your benefits plan, whatever. E-learnings to train people for a specific job or for certifications or to keep up with government regulations. Tutorials and explainer videos. How do they use the software? How do they use whatever it is that you have, and what can it do, and stuff like that. Sales training. I've done lots and lots of sales videos that were actually going internal, but from management to a salesperson to educate the salesperson on the benefits of the product, so the salesperson can educate the end user, the client. Podcasts, like I used to do the intro and outro for Mari-Liis and Laura's Powerful Marketing podcast, and people do that, and they also sometimes hire voices to voice the whole podcast when they're not doing an interview type format like what Mari-Liis is doing. YouTube channels, people to either voice their YouTube channels or, again, do an intro or maybe do a commercial for it. Phone systems. Your phone is your front line. I mean, people who don't even know you call the phone. And I know just yesterday, I called a company that I was interested in doing business with and got into what I call voicemail hell. And I just hung up. It's like, I'm not going to deal with this. In fact, I had an insurance agent I used to be with who I left to go to another one. She just called back trying to get my business back. And I said, no, I call you. I get into a whole voicemail system. And then by the time somebody gets back with me, it's a different person each time. I'm going to go with this other company where they answer the phone, and the way they answers the phone helps me. And they have fewer people that are there answering the phone. So customer service is important. And the voice that greets your people is important as well. And then, of course, there's audiobooks. If you guys have if you have a book that you maybe built to build your credibility within your industry, very, very common, especially for solopreneurs. You might want to get a voice to voice your book.
So there are plenty of ways to use audio in your marketing, and we should do that. But I agree with you. Many people nowadays choose AI for that.
Yes.
So let's dive into what are the pros and cons when working with an AI versus working with a real person like yourself.
Right. And first, I want to preface this by saying, I don't blame people for going to AI. I mean, I'm going to AI for some things. I'm just kind of testing it out for transcribing a podcast and then writing a description and then writing a blog article. And I'm going to see how well it does, if it would save me time to start a blog. So I understand that. And especially if you really don't know anything about the voiceover industry, or you have the preconceived notion that you really can't afford it, then I understand why you would do it. But there are lots of skills that AI doesn't have. So if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and play some examples of AI and show you. But I want you to listen for these things, okay? AI doesn't breathe sometimes. In fact, I never hear AI breathe. And so I listen to AI and I'm like, I run out of air because AI isn't breathing. You know, AI does long run-on sentences with inappropriate pauses. I'm not saying that it pauses too much. It doesn't pause enough. And when it does, it's in the wrong places. Like in the middle of a name. Like, let's say there's a noun, okay? Mari-Liis. Blah, 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 Mari-Liis, da-da-da-da-da-da. I mean, that is not what we're saying, but that is what AI would say. So the phrasing is all wrong. They can't tell where, you can't tell sometimes where a quote starts or a quote ends. They might be, said so-and-so and then continue the sentence when it's really the beginning of another sentence. And you're like, what? And the thing about AI, they throw away the inflection. They have it in the wrong place. They don't have an instinct, and they have no personality. The thing about voiceover is not just that the voice says the words. You could do that. If you're going to go to AI, just do it yourself. But get a professional to present the words with personality, which I don't know if we'll have time to get into playing an excerpt of that. We'll just have to see how time goes. But I want you to listen for some of those things as I play these examples. Okay, so here is the first example of AI.
Those are very great insights you just gave. I've never thought of breathing when listening any text.
Well, most people don't. But I want you to think about. Okay, this is a news story that came out today, actually, about COVID vaccines. And I'm not going to try to get political with these. These are articles that had AI that I wanted to play for you as an example. Okay. So go ahead and listen to this, and listen to how it doesn't breathe. It has run-on sentences. Phrasing is all wrong. It like pauses in the middle of what I call entities, which would be like nouns. It can't tell, or you can't tell, where the quotes start and end. So let me go ahead and play this for you, and let me know if it's hard to hear so I can make it louder.
I will. Yeah, let's try it. Okay. We don't hear it right now.
Can you hear it?
No.
Okay, that's not going to work then.
But Julie, you know what we can do? Can you share those links so we can put it next to the show notes?
I will do that. I will send the links to you so you guys will be able to play it.
Exactly.
And I'll give you the time code of where I was going to start. In fact, I'll even summarize the points of what to listen for you. Now, here's one I know that you'll be able to hear. And this is a guy who, it's an audiobook. And I want you to listen to the way he starts chapter 1. And I want you to listen to his phrasing. Okay, so he doesn't just, what a lot of mistakes beginning voiceover talents do is they, a lot of beginning voiceover talents will, like what I call, start at the capital letter and end at the period. So when you have a long sentence, they basically keep going until they get to the period. But we don't talk like that. We typically go between like the who, what, where, when, why, and how is when we pause, like, well, Mari-Liis said that da-da-da-da-da. And I was just thinking, we don't say Mari-Liis said da-da-da-da-da. And I was just thinking about it. You know what I mean? We pause automatically. And AI doesn't. It does pause, but not in the right places. And but this guy does, and he adds a lot of personality to what he's doing. So let me go ahead.
Please. Yeah, just share those links with us, Julie, and we will put them on the show notes because
you will hear this. This is less than a minute, and you will hear it.
Okay, let's try it.
Okay, this is I'm holding my Bluetooth speaker up. This is a guy named Mark Cashman, and it's an audiobook. And just listen to the personality he has. He even has a laugh in it, and it's about mental illness.
Imagine being told that you have Alzheimer's disease. Because this is such a common disease, there is a very good chance that this will happen to someone you love, or someone I love.
Or someone I love.
Now, imagine that instead of being told there's no hope, you are told that this is readily treatable and that you can expect to get your normal cognition back. What's more, your children may be assured that they, their children, and your family's subsequent generations can avoid Alzheimer's disease. This reversal of fortune is life-changing, with reverberations through the generations ad infinitum. This was the goal in translating the research that my colleagues and I performed over 30 years into a therapeutic approach.
You see how he has a lot of pausing in there, a lot of phrasing going on, and he's not starting at the capital letter and going to the period like bad voiceover talents do. So listen for that if you're hiring a talent as well, and like AI does. So in the interest of time, let me just recap the 7 points. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, do the recap because I have one more thing I want to pull out for our listeners. Go on.
Okay, so the skills that a good voiceover talent has that AI doesn't, because AI's on a par with a mediocre to bad voiceover talent right now. AI doesn't breathe, and that's maybe imperceptible, but you do notice it. You just don't notice you notice it. They have long run-on sentences. The phrasing is all wrong, unlike what Mark Cashman did right there. He's incredible. They pause in the middle of entities like Mari-Liis's name. They can't tell where the quotes start and finish. And if you listen to the COVID thing that is in the link below, you'll see what I mean. Start at 6 minutes for that. And then it doesn't throw away things that are already established. So that's an inflection thing. You need to stress what's important about that's the subject of this sentence, not just the topic of whatever the topic is once you've established the topic. Okay, that might be talking around in circles. I hope this was really helpful for you, that you'll have an easier time. I encourage you to listen to AI and just listen for these types of things.
Now, we really want to listen to those links that you will share because I know they are very interesting and it's fun to hear them. But what I wanted to touch on for a second is when listeners now think, okay, I want to hire a voiceover talent for my business. Tell us a little bit about how to negotiate before hiring the voice talent, because I know it might be also very tricky.
Okay, well, the first thing you want to do is you want to hear a demo from the voiceover talent. Okay, and what you can do is ask for a custom audition with part of your script. They're not going to do the whole thing, and that isn't really fair for you to ask unless it's a real small script, right? They'll just do part of it so you can hear what they're going to sound like on your material. Okay. When you get a hold of a talent, the talent really can't bid on your job unless they have some information. How long is it? You can tell about how many minutes. You can tell what the word count is, because we pretty much know it's 9,000 words an hour, and we pretty much for narrations know what we charge pretty much per word, which can actually vary by 5 or 10 cents a word depending on how long the project is and how much repeat work. Now, if you tell them that they'll have a lot of repeat work, don't use that as a negotiating tactic. Ask them if you give discounts on repeat work. But I've had people tell me they do repeat work and they repeat once a year with a little $100 job or something. That isn't really fair to the talent to give a discount like that when it really isn't what you would call regular work. But what I do is I say on the third job, we start discounting. The third job within a certain time frame, we'll start discounting. So ask them what they charge. Ask them if that includes editing. And if it's an e-learning, does it include cutting the files? And then ask them what their rates are. And they might come back with, well, what's your budget? Okay, a good budget for an e-learning is about 20 cents a word. Or I'm trying to think, $350, $400 per finished hour or per recording hour. If it's an audiobook, it's $200 per finished hour. Audiobooks are very inexpensive. They don't pay well to the talents at all. And occasionally you can get a talent who's newer, if you like how they do it. They just need to get experience, but they're very good. You can get them to do it for a certain stipend as well as a percentage of sales. So if you're new and you don't think it's going to be a bestseller right out the gate, then that might be a way to go. But you will not get the best talent doing it that way. But you can get a very good talent for $200 per finished hour. And so that's what I recommend. Also, though, make sure it includes the editing, because the editing will take twice as long as the voicing. So you want to know what's included in that money.
Wow, fantastic. Julie, you have shared so valuable information, and I really appreciate it. Please tell to our listeners where can people find you online.
Well, if you want to listen to my stuff and get a hold of me, the website is juliewilliamsvo.com. VO as in voiceover. Okay. juliewilliamsvo.com. And all my demos are there. Videos of things I've done are there. There's just lots and lots of stuff. Plus you can link to a contact page and email me if you'd like to. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them the best I can. And if you need a voice, I would be happy to either voice it myself or tell my entire network within my membership. I've been doing this for decades, so I've got a whole network of people. I could find you a good voice.
This is truly valuable. Thank you, Julie, once again for being here with us.
Oh, thank you.
No one wins alone. Be supported, inspired, and connected with our community 24/7. Find the link in the show notes.